back with another naturally obsessed look into basketball. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe button, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought about the video. And as I always like to preface by saying, I am not a basketball expert, just a fan who's naturally obsessed. And in this video, it's been asked by a couple people that I make a video about this content right here. But before I divulge, I know some of you are going to hit up the comments asking. There are currently no new updates about the Kevin Durant situation that I know of. I promise if I catch wind of something or if we hear something developing, I'll make some content on it. But in the meantime, guys, like I said, I don't expect this to be quick per se. There's been a lot of clapback from some people watching the videos talking about that I'm crazy, saying that the Nets don't hold any leverage. I didn't say they don't hold any leverage. I just don't think it's as big as most of you are claiming that it is. The main leverage the Nets hold right now is the fact that they can determine how long this whole process drags out. I am not backing down from what I believe and have been told from people that I, no offense, trust much more than you. And I'm not backing down the slightest. In fact, last night's video, I doubled down. Kevin Durant is going to be a Phoenix Sun. When, not if, is the only question. But this video is about potential free agent signings that I personally believe that the Phoenix Suns will at the very least kick the tires on. And these players, I'm basing this off of just assuming for argument's sake the Kevin Durant trade does happen. I don't know for sure who would be included in that trade. I think I have a general idea, but I don't know for sure. I'm basing this off of the fact that DeAndre Ayton is going to be gone, though. I can tell you that much because I think we can all agree, everyone watching this video, yeah, DeAndre Ayton's not going to be back with the Phoenix Suns. It's not impossible, but I give it such a low percentage chance of happening that I'm just going to operate this video in assuming DeAndre Ayton's going to be gone. So the two positions I'm looking at right here, because I believe we have plenty of two guards. I believe that small forward is going to be a question on whether or not Mikal Bridges is included in a deal. And for power forward, if we're assuming Kevin Durant is on the team, I do expect a body of some type to be added for depth, but it's really hard right now to determine what that is because I think out of these two positions that I'm naming right here, I think that's going to be at the bottom of their list in looking to add to the team. But the main two right here, center and backup point guard. I do believe that the Phoenix Suns, based off of everything I'm hearing and just the moves that we're seeing them make right now, are going to take a center by committee approach to the season next year. And depending on the personnel, it's not a bad idea. I was saying it for the last 2 years and seeing how efficient centers can be in this offense, and they're not an offensive vocal point. It's more than anything, defense is what is relied on at the center position in this offense. It's nice to have that flashy big, you know what I mean? It's always nice to be able to have those automatic points as soon as it gets into the paint. DeAndre Ayton was hot and cold with that, but very efficient when he got the basketball. But especially if you have Kevin Durant on the team, I think Monty Williams is going to go full-blown into defense first at the center position. So the one guy that it's very unfortunate because I was making posts on Twitter about it, I highly expected the Phoenix Suns to at the very least kick the tires on Thomas Bryant. He signed a one-year deal with the Los Angeles Lakers, so that's unfortunate. The Phoenix Suns didn't even get an opportunity to talk to him, similar to how Dante DiVincenzo, Suns didn't get an opportunity to talk to him either. And I know for a fact there was a lot of interest on the Phoenix Suns' part with Dante DiVincenzo. But all their focus right now is on this Kevin Durant deal. I do expect potentially another player or two may be signed before we know what the resolution to this is. But for the vast majority of the high-end executives, this is what they're focused on, is Kevin Durant. So one guy, what I'm doing here for both the center and backup point guard position, I'm giving you one available free agent at the time of this video, by the time I upload it, who knows if they're signed or not, but one remaining free agent, and then a guy I think they could still potentially look to target in acquiring via trade. So for center, Hassan Whiteside. I think that Hassan Whiteside, if you're going center by committee and a defense first approach, then out of the best available free agents, I think Hassan Whiteside fits that perfectly. Does he have certain limitations in some aspects? Absolutely. But I know for a fact that a couple years ago when the Suns made the run to the finals at the trade deadline, a lot of people, I was one of them, were screaming, get another big, get another big. Andre Drummond was a guy that a lot of people were screaming to sign. I'm glad they didn't sign him, but a guy that I was hoping they'd trade for because it looked like he would be on the move was Hassan Whiteside. And I do think that to some level there was some interest, but ultimately not as much as I would have liked because the Phoenix Suns didn't pull the trigger. I do think he would fit what they're doing if they landed Kevin Durant perfectly. And then a guy that I think they could look to trade for, Jakob Poeltl. I know a lot of people don't like Jakob Poeltl, but I like him, and especially if you're bringing him into this type of situation, the guy is an insanely underrated defender. He really is. Gives you a lot of effort on that end of the floor, and on an expiring deal, so you don't have to worry about a long-term solution this year. You can still take that center by committee approach, and I think there would be interest from the Phoenix Suns even if this Kevin Durant trade happens. And I don't know this, so if you're a San Antonio Spurs fan that knows the situation better than I do, please comment and let me know down below. But I would imagine, just based off of the fact that they let DeJounte Murray go and they've made it clear that they're going rebuild, I would think he's a movable player for the San Antonio Spurs. And I'd imagine that you don't have to pay a king's ransom for him. So those are the two centers I think they might look at. And then for backup point guard, it's been made very clear to me, and there are stories that have leaked all offseason so far, that James Jones wants to at least pursue opportunities to improve at backup point guard over campaign. And from what I've heard, I've been talking about this for a little over a month now. I did not anticipate that the market, based off of the poor years both campaign and Landry Shamet had, that the market would be that big. But it's bigger than I anticipated. And that doesn't mean that there are teams beating down this Phoenix Suns door, blowing up the phone, trying to get them. That's not what that means. I just think what it means is for the right price, I think they are movable to some teams. And one team that I'm not saying for sure that I think it can happen, I'm just saying I wonder if you could, just based off of the situation that they are in personally and rebuilding the team. And that's the Indiana Pacers making a trade with them to get TJ McConnell. I think he's an upgrade over Campaign. I really do. I like Campaign's offensive game a tad bit more, not by much, but I love TJ McConnell's defensive game tremendously more, immensely more, and his passing, so underrated. So underrated. I would love to have TJ McConnell on this team. I think he would be an absolute upgrade over Campaign. And I've been told, a lot of people were asking me about Malcolm Brogdon, and I shut it down completely simply for the fact of James Jones does not want to pay a lot of money at the backup point guard position due to everything else he's trying to build around the team. And I understand how that might sound a little ass backwards, because it's like, if you want an upgrade at backup point guard, you're going to have to pay for it, blah, blah. To a certain extent, you are right, but paying Malcolm Brogdon that type of money versus what TJ McConnell's making, because this year, Campaign is making about $6 million. For an upgrade in TJ McConnell, you only have to pay him $2.1 million more. I definitely think the Phoenix Suns would do that. No question. Again, I'm not saying for sure that the Phoenix Suns are looking into TJ McConnell. I'm trying to get some answers on for sure guys that they are interested in, and I'm having a really hard time, guys, because all the focus again is on Kevin Durant. but I really do believe that if the right opportunity strikes, that this would be a road the Phoenix Suns would look down. And then a guy at point guard, a free agent point guard that I want to completely rule out because I've also been asked about him, is Collin Sexton. Collin Sexton is a guy that coming off the injury, and I'm not sure what the Cavaliers are feeling about him right now. I think it's obvious that the future of the point guard position in Cleveland is Darius Garland, but the people I have talked to have kind of shared with me that around the league, he may be viewed as a high-end sixth man, kind of like a Tyler Hero. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that I think he's as good as Tyler Hero. I know some of you are going to put words in my mouth and twist what I'm saying. I'm not saying that at all, but viewed kind of in that high volume, off the bench type of player. So I think two things are going to happen. I think, again, because of the limitations on what James Jones wants to spend at backup point guard, you're going to have a similar DeAndre Ayton type of situation to where if the Suns' hand was forced and someone threw out an offer sheet to DeAndre Ayton and there was no sign and trade on the horizon, the Phoenix Suns aren't going to lose DeAndre Ayton for nothing. I promise you guys that. So the Phoenix Suns would match that offer. I have a feeling the Cleveland Cavaliers would do the same thing with Collin Sexton. For the right price, they're not going to lose him for nothing. So I think they're just going to throw out and match the offer sheet anyways. So I don't really think Collin Sexton is a guy that the Phoenix Suns feel is going to be worth their time or the money that they feel they might have to throw his way. Even though he's coming off an injury and he's not going to get what it was looking like potentially he was going to get going into last season, I don't think that's the case. But a guy that I wonder about, because there's been some talk back and forth, not among my friends that work in the Phoenix Suns organization, but again, just basketball fans that like you and me that are kind of in the know about things. They read a lot of stuff like I do. Austin Rivers. I don't know how you guys feel about Austin Rivers, but I don't hate him. I don't want to say that I like him, but I don't hate him. And this is a genuine question for you guys because I have a really hard time answering this. Do you think Austin Rivers would be considered a backup over Cameron Payne? Or I'm sorry, not a backup over an upgrade over Cameron Payne? That's a really hard question for me to answer. And some of you might be rolling your eyes like, yeah. Please let me know in the comments down below, because genuinely, guys, like, if it's easy for you guys, I would love to know why, because they're two completely different types of players, which is probably why I'm having such a hard time, because there are things. Cam Payne frustrates the living shit out of me. He really does, but there are also times where, example, that Lakers series in the postseason a couple years ago, the Los Angeles Lakers had no answer for Cam Payne. Times like that. Last year, we didn't see things like that too often. We saw glimpses, but mostly we had times where we were pulling our hair out, just frustrated, like, oh, where's that guy we saw last year? So let me know if you think Austin Rivers is an upgrade over Cam Payne. But in the meantime, guys, I'm going to do my due diligence in trying to find out more, but just let me know what you guys are thinking about this whole free agency thing and where you think the Phoenix Suns are going. And the more I find out, the more you'll find out. I appreciate you guys watching. Please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought about the video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks, guys.